Welcome to Goddess Out of Mars, the podcast where spirituality meets real life. Here we talk healing, mindset, and manifestation, and raising the next generation with purpose. So grab a drink, take a deep breath, and let's dive in. This is Goddess Out of Mars. Hello. Welcome to the first episode of Goddess Out of Mars. I'm your host, Goddess Out of Mars, and I hope everyone is having a blessed start of the week and start of the month for May. Um, some of you may know me, but I am a children's author. I wrote the book Chakras for Kids and Ancestral Altars for Children, Hoodoo for the Black Child, which are both available on Amazon. So I did wanted to just start this podcast to with others and connect with my community, particularly the Black community, and also connecting with anyone and everyone who is into spirituality and just want to be connected as individuals inside of a community. So with that, in today's episode, I did wanted to talk about mental health in the Black community. In today's episode, I wanted to talk about mental health in the Black community and us just being able to ground ourselves. If you know that if you had a similar upbringing in the Black community when I was a kid, mental health was not heard of or not welcome, especially among children. Children were not allowed to act out or have ADHD or have autism. The most that people would say, oh, he's a little touch, or just he's a little special. But allowing kids to act out, feel their emotions, have tantrum, have bad days were very, very unheard of. At least when I was growing up or where I was from. I grew up in a very, very rural community in the Mississippi Delta, and things like depression, anxiety was very looked down upon. And now thinking back, I don't think we even had those words like depression or anxiety, or maybe bipolar, but bipolar was used in the wrong sense. People were just treated as quote unquote crazy. So with that, mental health did not have that many avenues of healing, even in the general population. I think even though we had research back then, we're just now coming into being more open with people going to therapy, people having clinical help or medication. We're just now being being more open to help and have a better understanding and more knowledge of the things that go into mental health and the things that affect our mental health. But one of the things working in the mental health field that we noticed that even though particularly mental health it's not talked about or, given way to, it is understood that most people are still talking about others' mental health, but just not in a clinical way. So for example, in the Black community, we didn't have that much access to therapy and clinical health. So most of our healing was communal and very sacred. And for those who are very into religion, without outright saying it and without them being conscious of it, most people that just went to church for healing or, letting them be touched by the Holy Spirit, or letting them be cleansed from sadness or from depression, or, their barriers and tests that they say that God put them through. So in a way that even though our community and most communities, they didn't have the clinical jargon to describe depression and mental health illness and its healing, they did have ways, in a sense, of unconsciously going about healing that. And even in today, now that more spirituality along with mental health is being brought open and being accepted among some people, particularly in hoodoo, we do, in to me, in a sense, recognize the emotional relief that comes with like cleansing with Florida water, herbal bath, or having a smoke cleansing. Using oil and prayer, that's another thing that was used some years ago. Dr. Grandmothers in church would pray over you with oil to, pray the quote unquote demons away and pray your ailments away. And that's a thing that we use to particularly now to help with our mental health, like having blessings oils, having cleansing oils, and praying and having petitions, and you still using those as therapy tools. Well, also going to our altars and just talking with our ancestors, even though they may not have the same wording or same knowledge, they are still here to help us. Just leaning on them for emotional support and clarity. Because in the Black community, it was no surprise that we do have, and we are overworked. We mostly have chronic anxiety and feeling unseen and unheard, while also lacking access to cultural competent therapists and counselors, and at the same time having to keep up, well, unintentionally keep up this appearance of being a strong Black woman and being a strong Black man. But if we let those vulnerabilities show, we might, even if we're crying, be seen as aggressive or unbalanced. But now that, I wouldn't say that I wish that we can be in a more better place, but I do see in today's age that we do have a better understanding. That I'm glad that along with spiritual practices and having a better understanding of mental health care, that we can create our own spiritual rest ritual, such as like not being on our phones too much. Like I said, praying with oils and praying and writing petitions, using bay leaves to burn ailments and barriers away, and using psalms and affirmations. Using jar spells like a honey jar or a sweetening jar, or maybe just like a mental health jar, for bringing in emotional peace, emotional safety, and softening our hearts and minds, and giving us boundaries, and I want to say softening our minds, giving us strength for our minds, and understanding that we are not weak for needing help or having to be strong all the time. We can rely on our community for those we are able to go to, and relying on our ancestors. The ancestors, praying to those who will help us and help guide us. And normalizing therapy and real spiritual work. It doesn't have to be an extreme of one or the other. They can coexist. Like, you can do that working for mental health. Light that blue candle or light a white candle for cleansing and that black candle for protection. And the next day, you don't have to talk to your therapist about it if you're not comfortable. But going to therapy and letting it out. Like I said, faith without work is dead. So lighting the candle, but also putting in the work behind it. If you can't afford a therapist, they are, usually at the most health clinics and low income health clinics, they have a behavior specialist on staff. So if you need to talk with anyone, you can. And also, If you have a good doctor, if you feel comfortable, talk to your doctor about it too. Even though they don't specialize in it, that's what your doctor is for. And along with that, say like if you had needed a mental health day or work or school, you have that medical record to back you up, even if you just want to talk to your doctor just 1 or 2 times about it. So you can get extra help in school. Like if you have anxiety or depression, that can count as a disability in school and most jobs. Being able to have more time for school assignments or have a mental health day off at work. But even if you can't do that, follow some Black therapists or resources online. One of my favorites right now is Deidre Glover Tarab. Sorry if I'm butchering that, but she has a book on setting boundaries and another book on working out toxic relationships within a family. And she often posts really good mental health snippets online or on Instagram. And right now I am reading one of her books. It's called Drama Free. That's the book. And it's a guide to managing unhealthy family relationships. And another book she had is called Setting Boundaries and Finding Peace. Those are some really good books to get. And also, again, like if you're not able to get those, follow her on Instagram or others like her, and follow spiritual healers. I'm not saying if they don't offer this service, like we have a tarot reader, if you go to anybody for readings or for spiritual guidance, in a way that is spiritual health and mental health wrapped up in one that I really like that I follow right now, and I'm in her group. She's called Mama Lewa on Instagram, and she does a lot of good work on Instagram too, and has a lot of spiritual co-ops and programs. And so with this, I encourage y'all, to those who do have altars, if this, I'm not pushing my spirituality on anyone. It don't have to be an altar in particular, but have like a mental health area, maybe like a prayer closet or a mental health altar where you have images and affirmations and like candles and herbs ready to go, and that being a safe space for you. Maybe it's a bunch of pillows in the corner of the room with a candle or whatever, or your book, just anything. But if you're listening, just reach out to me on Instagram on like of your favorite ways to tie in spirituality and therapy and mental health together. Whether it's like lighting a blue candle for spiritual work, or one of your favorite spiritual resources, or therapists or spiritual healers. Thank you for being here. If you like today's episode, share it and tag it with us at Goddess Ida Mars. Don't forget to leave a review and hit the follow button so you don't miss anything. I'll see you later.